Everybody doing? I wanted to do a quick one on this. I actually figured out how to do screen record and have a camera at the same time instead of just the screen. So wonderful news. Anyway, so the idea of this video is a kind of an explanation in terms of what we mean by scaling, why we scale, and kind of how do we incorporate that into things. I think a lot of people struggle to understand why we scale. Our ultimate end goal is hit the stimulus, right? So that means like in the beginning, we need to actively hit the stimulus. And the stimulus is going to be quite simple. So if you take a look here to use next week, Monday as an example, it is going to be a 12 calorie, 10 calorie erg sprint. These are sprints. So the stimulus is to get it done as quickly as you possibly can, right, in that time frame. So that allows everybody to do that. The point of the scaling, once again, is to hit the stimulus and actively have intensity, because the big point of what we do in CrossFit is a multimodal point. So in the sense we have multimodal domains, we go from short, we go from long, we go mixed, we have a little bit of that in the middle, as well as bringing in the ideas of the higher output and skills and whatnot, right? The scaling is how we modify the workout so that we can hit that stimulus. And that's going to be our biggest thing. And as you can see going forward, the idea, and I'll explain a lot more so people can have a better understanding, is why we give you the instance of going, look, we're doing box jumps and one power snatch. What is the scaling for me today? And it's like, perfect. How do we work through this? And so this is why I want to give you the scaling and show you that there's infinite amount of ways to scale a workout. So whether you see something that says 250 kg snatch, or you see something that says, hey, I want you to do 20 pullovers, handstand walk around the building, come back in, lift another 500 kilogram deadlift, and then while at it, go run 5K. It doesn't matter what shows up on the workout. The big thing is that everything is scaled, and that's the biggest thing. You scale to get into that and scale to your capacity as well as your strengths and your weaknesses. So to give you a little bit more in terms of why we scale and how we do that, we're going to take a look at a few things. On Tuesday, we have every minute till failure, which is just capped at 14 minutes. We have 4 box jumps and 1 power snatch. Our stimulus for the day is going to be 8 rounds plus. That means that you've done 8 minutes of workouts as a minimum. Everything plus on that is going to be based on how fit you are in terms of, and also how strong you are. So when it comes to the stimulus, you can take a look and you go, okay, cool. Today, this is a high box jump, 30 inch and 24. And you go, do I have the capacity to do a 30 inch and 24? And you're like, okay, cool, I do. Do I have something that I could do it for 8 rounds? Possibly. Perfect. Do I need to modify that or scale that back? No. If this is something where you're like actively, I can't do this for 8 rounds. So we go, what will the scaling option be for you? Scale the height. So you can see I've given you broad ones because the whole idea about this is scaling towards you and you alone. Saying that we're just going to go random names. Jacinta comes in and goes, oh, look, Jacinta is really explosive. Jacinta can do box jumps for days and has no issues, but her issue is actively the weight of the snatch. So that means that if I give Jacinta the same scale as I say I give Gertrude, there are 2 different people, 2 different outcomes that won't be getting the same stimulus, nor will they be getting the same effect in the long run. And this is the point of scale, which is that we scale to ensure that you hit the stimulus and start progressing and start doing different things instead of being, look, I've been doing this for 5 years, I'm still stuck doing ring rows, and I still can't do a pull-up. The key now is to build you, and though things might look intimidating at the start, the biggest key understanding is that when we scale and do it correctly, scaling can work to anybody and everybody, so we can hit that as well as the intensity that's required. Now, if we take a look at it using Jacinta as that position of I can't do the high box one, we drop that down, right? We can go, instead of 20, say 30, we go down to 24s. Can't do 24s, we do 20. Or we scale down to plates and use a height that we know we can actively do it. The key what we actively working in the background here is how much can you explode? So high explosivity, and continue to do high explosivity under load and fatigue. So that means that if you need to drop down the box, as you can see the box height, we then take a look at the snatch and we go, right, 55 kg for a snatch or 35 for the ladies could be a position where it's now too heavy. So we go, right, I know that I need to get at least 8 reps in And if you do the calculation in terms of stacking it up, you're doing amalgamation past 20 reps. So that means that if I can't get that rep all the time for the minimum to 8, I need to scale back the weight. And this is how we take a look at it and go, I want to be in the stimulus, so I need to scale back to be able to get into the stimulus. And how do we do that? And that's effectively we're either going to scale the weight or we're going to scale the height. Now, we can also do this from a volume perspective. And I'm going to use the next one here, Jerome. It should be able to pop up there. And there you go. Perfect. With Jerome, we have 10 chest to bars, 20 wall balls, 20 V-ups, and rest. So you can see the scaling options for day and how we look at this. So here go, hey, look, I have chest to bars. I don't have the volume of chest to bars, so what do I do so I can still get the good stimulus here? I need to work the stimulus to myself. So I can reduce the chest to bars. So I can go, hey, maybe 8 will work for me today because I know that I can always get 8, and if I do 9, I break. So in a better option, we'll go, maybe I'll do 6 consistently and be better at doing 6 consistently. Now, for someone who can't do chest to bars, we go, right, how scaling can I do today? I'm going to do a jumping chest to bar. The opportunity is there. I can do pull-ups doing the same thing, going, look, I'm going to do volume. I can do single leg jumping chest to bars. I can do practice my single leg kip swings onto the box. I can do banded kip swings. So we can bring these things into it. We can go like, hey, look, the outcome that I'm looking for this workout is something I've been struggling over the last couple of weeks, which is my V-ups, or I want some core. So this is now where you take the personal part to it, which is how do I improve this and go, right, I don't have chest to bars, but I do know I have pull-ups. So I'm going to do pull-ups instead of chest to bars, and I'm going to focus a little bit more on my V-ups. And how I'm going to do that means that I'm going to aim for bigger sets, or I'm going to have a bigger volume. And the key, what I'm trying to drive over here is that it doesn't matter what shows up for the WOD for the day, the ability to scale and come to this is one, going to be personal on your outcome goals. So if you're someone who goes, hey, look, I want to get fitter, right? It's looking at it and reducing the volume that fits you personally. For someone who can lift 200 kgs, doing 10 deadlifts at 100 kgs is easy. For someone who can only lift 100 kgs, a workout that has a 100 kg deadlift is going to be taxing and they won't get any. So the big thing about scaling is to actively reduce the workout to a position that allows you to always consistently hit the stimulus. There are times, and you also hear the coaches in class and you also hear me, that when you're on the cusp of getting something, a little bit time spent doing the harder movements outside of that time target, the score target, or whatever we want to call that, is a good thing. And what we mean by that is that if you're looking at a workout and you're going, hey, look, I'm getting time capped, but I'm like 20 reps away, and I actually, one, did the most amount of chest to bars I've ever done, the most amount of strict handstand push-ups I've ever done, or X, Y, Z, you've actually done a good thing to push you into the position of being better and better overall. The key is that we need to spend more of the time being in the target stimulus and trying to drive home the point that it doesn't matter how crazy a workout could look, or how simple a workout could look, or how heavy a weight might be, that the scaling option is there for anybody and everybody. And then using that information, we go, right, can I talk to the coach? Can we figure out a different one? That means that if I come in, for instance, my shoulder, means that I haven't been doing any explosivity on my shoulder. All I've been doing is working on getting stronger in that range. That means anything that's required dynamic movement on the shoulder has been out and has been put into a static. So that means that any form of workout will and can be modified based on you and your needs, whether it be an injury, whether it be a mobility problem, whether it be a weight problem, whether it be a volume problem, or whether it be a skill problem. Because in the end of the day, we care about hitting the stimulus and driving you further the point. And the reason why is that the more and more and more we hit the stimulus, the intensity goes up. And the more you do that intensity, the more you see results, the quicker you see progression. When we play the game of, I'm not going to scale, and I want to scale inappropriately, which is I just take a random weight and use that random weight all the time, and I always keep doing rig rows, I always keep doing the same things, you see progression stalls and your ability to actually see change and the change in your overall health starts to decline. And that's my biggest part in trying to drive in the point that we actively need to scale. Everybody needs to scale, and the workouts aren't just made in a sense of just, oh, look, we're always going to cater to everybody. The difference is that the workouts always cater to everyone because we have the ability to scale. And that's the biggest thing. Our ability to scale means that we not only progress, we can get fitter, we can get stronger, and we can start progressing quicker. How you go through those scaling options per week is something I want to see something different. So that means that if you did jumping chest to bars last week, you can do them this week if you want, but you can also do something different. You can do a single leg jumping chest to bar. You could do a burpee pull up into the same position. You could do a strict chest to bar for lower reps. We have these options, and the key is that variety and the changing, and also you taking a little bit of going, hey, what do I personally want to achieve, makes the big outcome in terms of how to scale. And what I'm trying to kind of secondary point in terms of that is that when you sit down and go, hey, look, from the next few months until say January, I want to get fitter or I want to get stronger. When you have that frame point coming into class, that means that if you see a WOD, if I use say last week's one with or 2 weeks, last week's, with the heavy front squats and the box jumps, you'll notice that the fact that that was a very strength orientated WOD. So that means that you go, look, I'm going to scale something and my key is strength. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to lower the box height so I can focus on going slightly heavier on the weight because it's going to drive my strength adoption. Where you could be someone coming in and going, hey, I want to go run faster, I want to be quicker, I want to be fitter, and you go, actually, if I reduce the weight a little bit and spend more time going to a higher box, work on that explosivity, the carryover in the long run is going to be higher because I'm actively working on something that's driving me towards a goal. And that's that interpersonal ability to take the WOD, scale it so you meet the stimulus as well as that stimulus helping drive an adoption on the back end. So I hope this kind of clarifies why we scale. If you want more information on how we would scale volume-wise for a workout, let me know, and we can kind of talk about in terms of how we split volume up, what we're looking at volume, and I can give you some nice examples from that.